What world car has grown 2 more doors? Stay with us and find out on MotorWeek.
MotorWeek, television's automotive magazine.
For our second road test tonight, we turn to one of the largest manufacturers in Europe, Italy's Fiat. Fiat is a big name overseas, but their fortunes have been declining in the U.S. in recent years. The reason? Well, Fiats have been plagued by the public's perception that Italian cars are somewhat unreliable and offer unacceptable comfort for the average American. Our test, though, focuses on their entry into the extremely competitive econobox market, the Fiat Strada, like this car here. It has a wheelbase of 96.4 inches and a weight of 2,100 pounds. And it looks pretty good, too, against its subcompact competition. The base price of the 4-door hatchback is $6,400. Options on our test car included air conditioning, a well-designed sunroof, and an AM/FM radio, none of which are necessary for the true economy seeker. How did it perform for us? Well, let's find out.
Here we have Italy's answer to the economical VW Rabbit. After a successful debut in Europe, the Fiat Strada was introduced in the U.S. in 1979. So far, though, it's not been quite as successful here. Like most Italian cars, the styling on the Strada is very unique. From the pointed grille to the off-center hood scoop to the round door handles, very little about this car says econobox. As a matter of fact, the Strada was originally designed as a subcompact car, but the U.S. government, which classifies cars based on their interior room, calls this a compact car. In that roomy interior, you'll find an ocean of two-tone plastic, very Spartan and very much European. However, that Italian heritage does make for some confusing designs. Most switches were of a strange-looking rocker type, and they're only marked with international symbols to tell you what they do. I found it easy to mix up the headlight dimming and turn signal stalks, although on the left side of the steering column they're much too close together. The instrument cluster consists of a speedometer, fuel and temperature gauge, lots of warning lights, and a real live tachometer, something that comes in handy for knowing when to shift a small-engined economy car. Putting this little item into gear and taking off is a pleasant experience. The Strada is peppy. The nicely spirited 1.5-liter engine does provide good acceleration, and it has pretty good handling too. The only thing that I didn't like was the 5-speed manual shift linkage. There was little feel to it, a fact that is not uncommon for a front-wheel drive car. And it was all too easy to upshift from 2nd right to 5th gear instead of 3rd, a most embarrassing feat. Once I was done, our test staff was able to put the Strada in even better perspective. Passing acceleration was good, from 40 to 55 miles per hour in 5.5 seconds. The Strada also performed well in our handling test. Our drivers said that the car felt tight and held the road well. There was a fair amount of body lean, but the steering was quick and precise, just what you'd expect from an Italian manufacturer. When it came to turning circles, the best we could do was 35 feet curb to curb. That's a bit wide for this car, but acceptable. Braking was another acceptable performance. From 30 miles per hour, the Strada took some 55 feet to come to a halt. From 55 miles per hour, our average of 6 panic stops yielded a figure of 145 feet. In both tests, our drivers said that the brakes felt firm with no fade. Stopping the Strada can be done with complete control and no brake pad squeal. Under the hood, the Strada is about average for front-wheel drive accessibility. The spark plugs and oil dipstick can be easily reached. Also in the Strada, the spare tire is mounted under the hood on top of the engine. That feature helped make this little Fiat one of the few imports to pass the government's 35-mile-an-hour crash test. Because this is a hatchback, there's little problem with loading luggage. Our standard 4-piece set fit nicely into the covered trunk. And with no spare tire hanging about, you'll not have to unload all your baggage should you ever have a flat. And just in case you need even more room, the rear seat does fold flat for even more cargo area. Open highway driving in the Strada proves small does not have to be uncomfortable. The seats in our Strada felt more at home in a living room. Lower back support was a high mark, and like most imports, the seat backs are fully adjustable so that all drivers should be able to find comfortable positions. When changing lanes, you'd better use your outside mirrors. There are some rear blind spots, despite the otherwise panoramic view from the driver's seat. The mileage estimates we got during our test range from 24 to 36. The EPA says you should be getting anywhere from 28 in the city to 38 on the highway. All in all, those figures are kind of low for an economy car, but maybe that explains why the Strada is so peppy. It's geared just a bit more for acceleration. All in all, the car was fun to drive. We enjoyed it. It does have a few annoying things that will take some getting used to, but if you're looking for a car that's a bit different, you might want to consider the Fiat Strada. And we think it's probably the most suited for the American market of any Fiat ever to grace our shores.
Hi there. Hello. Each week on MotorWeek, reporter Joyce Braga will give us an inside view of what's new on wheels. Hello, Joyce.
Hello, John.
It's all yours.
Thank you. As usual, Chrysler is ready to make a huge impact on the market, and GM is gearing up to stir in a new letter in the car world's alphabet soup. This photo is showing up everywhere, and no wonder. It's hot news. This is the new 1982 Chrysler LeBaron convertible, ready for the street in spring 1982, the first convertible from Detroit since 1976. It's on a lengthened K-body platform with new quad lights and an Imperial-style grille. Our reports indicate a $13,000 to $14,000 price tag. You've probably heard a lot about the much ballyhooed J-car, including the fact that most GM models already have a version. Most, but not all. Come next March, Buick and Oldsmobile will also join the crowd. We were lucky to get these great spy photos of the newest two in the J lineup, the Buick Skyhawk and the Oldsmobile Starfire. This is the first time that every division of GM will have its own version of the same car. The major difference between the various models is in the front sheet metal. The first year on the market looked for the Starfire and the Skyhawk to have the original 1.8-liter drivetrain with minor improvements. By 1983, most of the J cars will switch to the new lightweight 4-speed overdrive automatic. Now let's take a look at one of the new tools on the market. This is a palm-operated ratchet, and it works like this. This one is made by Davenport Tool Company. It's designed to get in those tight little spaces where there isn't room to swing the handle of an ordinary ratchet. The manufacturer indicates it can also be used as an ordinary ratchet by simply swinging the handle. And that's what's new on wheels this week, John.
Thank you, Joyce. And next week, we'll be testing one of those J cars you were talking about, the Pontiac J2000 and a Honda Civic four-door. For Joyce Braga, Pat Goss, and myself, John Davis, thanks for joining us, and have a pleasant and safe Motor Week.
Studio vehicle provided by Village Dodge Volvo Fiat Incorporated.